The 2008 financial crisis, also known as the global financial crisis, was a severe worldwide economic crisis that occurred between 2007 and 2008. It is widely considered to be the most serious financial crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Here are some key facts about the crisis. Causes. Housing bubble. The crisis was triggered by the collapse of the US housing market bubble. Years of low interest rates and lax lending standards led to a surge in subprime mortgages, which were then bundled into complex financial products and sold to investors worldwide. Subprime mortgages. These were mortgages given to borrowers with poor credit histories, who were considered to be at high risk of default. When housing prices began to fall, many of these borrowers defaulted on their loans, leading to huge losses for financial institutions. Complex financial products. Mortgage-backed securities, MBSs, and collateralized debt obligations, CDOs, were complex financial instruments that bundled together thousands of individual mortgages. These products were often rated as AAA, even though they contained many subprime mortgages. When the housing bubble burst, these products became toxic assets, causing huge losses for investors. Leverage. Financial institutions were highly leveraged, meaning they had borrowed large amounts of money to invest in these complex financial products. When the housing market collapsed, they were unable to repay the debts, leading to a credit crunch and a freeze in lending. Lack of regulation. There was a lack of adequate regulation of the financial industry, which allowed these risky practices to proliferate. Effects. Global recession. The financial crisis led to a global recession, with countries around the world experiencing economic contraction, rising unemployment, and falling trade. Bank failures. Many major financial institutions collapsed or were bailed out by governments, including Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, and AIG. Stock market crash. The stock market crashed, wiping out trillions of dollars in wealth. Housing market collapse. The housing market collapsed, with home prices falling sharply and foreclosures soaring. Job losses. Millions of people lost their jobs, and unemployment rates rose to record levels in many countries. Government bailouts. Governments around the world spent trillions of dollars to bail out financial institutions and stimulate their economies. Increased regulation. In the aftermath of the crisis, governments implemented new regulations to try to prevent future crises, such as the Dodd-Frank Act in the United States. Long-term impacts. Slow economic growth. The global economy has experienced slow growth since the crisis, and many countries are still struggling to recover. Increased inequality. The crisis exacerbated income inequality, with the wealthy recovering more quickly than the poor and middle class. Loss of trust. The crisis led to a loss of trust in financial institutions and governments. Political instability. The crisis contributed to political instability in many countries, with rising populism and nationalism. The 2008 financial crisis was a complex event with multiple causes and far-reaching consequences. It serves as a reminder of the importance of sound financial regulation and risk management.